It is time to continue. I think we should probably reach at least the game over ending thingy. I think we shouldn't be that far away from finishing the game, taking into account the guide, and also I double check how that game over scene went on my save file on the laptop to see if it was too long or where more or less it was placed on the story, and judging by the place in which that scene with the game over happens, it's not that far away from the different endings, so we should be okay-ish. Maybe one more stream. I think we maybe need one more stream aside from this one to finish the game. We are reaching the end. Hi, Certo. So it's time. Let's pause this and let's continue. The beautiful colors. So very trippy, I guess. Okay, sketches. Oh yeah, we changed the page. Load? Yes. I took the elevator to the 8th floor, then came to a stop outside apartment 821. Here we go, boys. Let me put the volume of the game higher. I think around here should be fine. I pressed the doorbell, and after a few moments I hear the door unlock. Then good looking Fujieda, let's go! Fujieda peeked out through the crack. He looked much younger without his glasses and the slick back hair. It was clear he was exhausted. The front door opened directly to the living room, which was much smaller than the last place. Once I was inside, Fujieda turned to me with a hard look on his face. Okay, I think I have to put this a bit higher. I think around there? Okay. I had it right there in my coat pocket, but I wasn't going to just hand it over. I looked back at him. Maybe it's a bit too high now. Maybe around the volumes are so hard, I swear. Okay. I think, is the volume around there? Maybe a bit there. He narrowed his eyes sharply. Okay, I think that it's fine. You can steal a toy from a cat. That's not how it works. Give back the toy to the cat. With a sign, I pulled the memo pad out of my pocket and tossed it at him. He grabbed it and flipped through it. He muttered something, but I didn't catch it. Also, by the way, if I cough a lot or something like that, it's very hot, it's very, very humid. I'm doing my best to survive, so yeah, not the ideal conditions. I nod occasionally, casually. He shot me an icy glare. As he spoke, he set the memo pad on the table. At this, he narrowed his eyes again. How did you not figure it out? Towa, he literally said, little sister, the other anyways.
その名前いつ知ったんだ。
あんたが長谷川に写真を見せたとき。
Bitterly, he fell silent. For now, I decided not to mention that I seemed to recognize her.
その子を探すためにわざわざホストから弁護士になったのか。
He knows. He glared at me. He looks so angry.
誰から聞いた。
榊から。
そうか。
ホストやってた時は結構なやり手だったらしいな。男でも女でも。だから俺も平気だったってわけか。
He averted his gaze and fell silent.
あの時のことについては謝罪も弁解もしない。
こっちも謝ってほしいなんて思ってない。ああいうのは慣れてる。
That's not good.
そのようだな。君について調べていた時その手の話を多く聞いた。あの時は他に方法が思いつかなかった。君はたとえ殺されたとしても喜びそうだからな。
Sorry, I can't do Fujiyama. I will keep lurking. Okay, it's fine. Thanks for passing by. Yeah, I'm getting cooked today. Fried sneak for dinner. I chuckled. He was completely right. Eventually, he was so emotionally distraught that he couldn't stop himself, even though he knew better.
マヤの店のことをもう少し詳しく聞こうと思ったんだが。
He paused, then forced himself to continue.
彼女は村瀬クリニックから搬送した先の病院で亡くなったそうだ。
No. Hasegawa died?
高里組の手が届かないよう新興味の外の病院を手配した。だが心臓発作を起こしたらしい。
No.
詳しい死因については調査中とのことだ。おそらく何も出ないだろうがな。
Hasegawa was dead. This was now the fourth person to suffer. One by one, the people from my past were dropping like flies. At this point, it couldn't be a coincidence.
一刻も早く忘れている過去を思い出せ。
I could feel his quiet urgency as as he glared at me. His mouth was swaying gently. It felt like Fuyeda had changed ever since ever since that happened. Language, though. His previously pristine white smoke was now all out of sorts, changing colors. Was there a crack in his armor? What if that armor fell apart? What would happen to him then? Personally, I was eager to see it for myself. Back at the clinic, I unlocked the side entrance and walked through the empty first floor. Upstairs, I pulled my coat off and switched the TV on. As it droned in the background, I drank and smoked. After I finished my cigarette, I grabbed my sketchpad and pencil off the coffee table. A shrimp posture moment. I flipped to a blank page, rested it against my knee and started sketching. This time I drew a young girl. The same girl from the photo in Fuyeda's memo pad. On a whim, I felt like sketching her. So I attempted to trace her from memory. I had only just laid eyes on that photo of her, after all. And yet, for some reason, it felt like I have already forgotten her face. I couldn't remember her face. In my mind's eyes, her face was flanked out by a blank haze. What did her face look like? Maybe I would remember as I went along. So I forced myself to keep drawing, but every attempt fell off somehow. I broke off in a cold sweat. My pencil felt slippery in my palm. I stopped, looked up at the ceiling and closed my eye. It was no use. For some reason, I just couldn't draw her. I couldn't remember her face. It felt like I was choking on a large rock, and I could scarcely breathe. Willing my racing heart to stay under control, I took a deep breath and opened my eye. Then I flipped to a new page and put pencil to paper. This time the curved lines overlap to form the image of a young boy. As it turned out, I could sketch Fulleda without any trouble. Before I knew it, the page was covered in scars. They were the same scars I have seen on Fulleda's body. Those memories were still freshly intact. It was so lifelike, it almost felt like the real Fulleda was right in front of me. Big scars, little scars, laceration scars, burn scars. All of them looked to be very old. As I sketched, I got all the absorbed in it, and the next thing I knew, I had filled up 10 pages. 10 pages! Very normal. Then my focus faded, and my pencil fell still. I tossed it and the sketch back on the coffee table, then grabbed a blister pack of sleeping pills. I popped one into my mouth, then washed it down with lukewarm steam from the floor bottle. After that, I flung myself down on the sofa and closed my eye. Let's go another nightmare? No nightmare. I think... Oh, no, never mind. Unsurprisingly, my nightmare featured the little girl from the photograph. Her face was a giant hole, and yet somehow I could tell that she was looking at me. The dark hole had no eyes, nose, or mouth, and yet I still knew. Fear welling up inside me, I opened my eye. My whole body was slick with sweat, and my chest was heavy. Without catching my breath, I rose from the sofa and started to head for the bathroom. But just then, I heard a loud sound. I could hear people downstairs. Plus, I could hear footsteps outside my window. I walked over to it and peeked out through the blinds. Squinting in the light, I scanned the area. There was a car parked outside the clinic. Then I saw a group of men run up to it. They peeled into the car, and I sped off. I stepped away from the window, grabbed my phone, and left the room. As I headed downstairs, I called Taco. But by the time I reached the first floor, he still hadn't picked up. It was currently 9:30 a.m. I sent him a quick message, then walked around around the unlit first floor. That is not looking very promising. Astra thing? No, I'm very bad with Astra stuff. Very, very bad. Then I opened the door to the exam room. Something felt distinctly off. Yeah, like everything is a mess. And when I switched on the lights, I realized the place had been ransacked. I left the room and hastily went to check everywhere else. The waiting room, the reception counter, the staff room, the storage closet. All of them were a total mess. The car just now must have been Takasatokun's. Oof! I paused in the waiting room to call Ray.
タクがどこにいるかわかるか？
タク？どうして？連絡取れないの？
ああ、それにクリニックの中が荒らされてる。
どういうこと？
多分高里組だ。外に車が止まってた。
He fell into a stunned silence.
まだクリニックにいるのよね。
ああ。
今すぐそこから出た方がいいわ。また戻ってくるかもしれないし。 私もタクに連絡してみる。友達にも聞いてみるから。あと、
He paused, then suddenly gasped.
ま、ごめんなさい。なんでもない。それじゃあね。
Was he maybe trying to say he wanted to ask Sakaki because he has to deal with the debt he has or something like that? Me thinks. With that, he hesitated, hung up. For a moment, this piqued my suspicion, but then I turned and hurried to the elevator. Arriving at the third floor, I went into my apartment and struck on my coat, then left again. I took the elevator back down to the first floor, turned off all the lights, and left the clinic. Walking beneath the pale morning light, I thought about Taku. He said he was in debt with the Takasato Gumi. That was the only connection between them as far as I knew. Were they lashing out at him for failing to pay them? It was possible they had kidnapped him because of it, though I couldn't be sure. But last I checked, Taku seemed to be in good standing with them. Deep down, I had a feeling there was something else going on, something worse. First things first, I decided to head downtown. In the end, I searched the downtown area top to bottom, but couldn't get any leads on Taku. Investigating the law office bombing, rumors flying around attorney Fuyeda, debtors. Earlier on the second, an explosion occurred. Okay, it's what we know. My body wasn't used to putting in so much effort, and I was already exhausted. I walked into an empty alley. Leaning against the wall, I reached for my cigarettes, but just then I felt my phone buzz in my coat pocket. I pulled it out and checked the screen. It was a call from Taku.
今どこだ?
デスマッチエリアに来い。
That doesn't sound like Taku. A low voice growled, and with that the call ended. That was not Taku, but the voice was familiar. I wonder who. In fact, it reminded me of a certain someone, but that couldn't be possible. Then I received a message from Taku's phone. GPS coordinates located in the Deathmatch area. District A. Right now, the whole place was off limits due to sinkholes. I pulled away from the wall and started walking, but then my phone buzzed yet again. This time it was a call from Fuyeda.
Euphoria の店についての情報を得た。調べたいことがある。
あいにく取り込み中だ。
何かあったのか？
タクと連絡が取れない。今、タクの携帯から電話があった。別人の声でデスマッチエリアに呼び出した。
相手に心当たりは？
さあな、高里組の誰かじゃないか。
そうか。
そういうわけなんで、大事な話は後にしてくれ。
I hung up and stuffed my phone back into my coat pocket. My destination, the Deathmatch area. I saw a meme about the scene that is about to happen, and it made me laugh so hard, even though the scene is not good per se, but it was so funny. I will share it another day with you. Inside the Deathmatch area, I made my way to the market location. As I walked between the abandoned buildings, thinking red in the toilet, a lone figure stepped out onto the road. He stands towards me. I squint at him.
タク。
どう？
Sure enough, it was Taku. He was hands over, clenching his gut. His white lab coat was filthy, and I could see cuts and bruises on his face.
お前、どうしてここに？
お前の携帯から電話がかかってきた。
俺じゃない。
That much we know.
わかってる。
逃げろ。早く。
Just then, something shot out from the alley. I could see someone curled up in agony on the pavement. It was Ray?
レイ。
ドア なんでいるの？
He winced as he spoke, his face ridden with wounds.
逃げて！
Right as he shouted, however, someone else came strolling out of the alley. And when I saw him, I felt my whole body tense up.
久しぶりだな、とは。
Hello. The man with the self-assured smile was none other than Madarame. When I got the call from Taco's phone and I heard the voice on the other end of the line, Madarame was the first person I thought of. But I was so sure it couldn't be possible. After all, Madarame was supposed to be dead.
お前でも驚くことがあるのか。
マダラメ。
せっかく戻ってきたんだ。少し遊ぼうかと思ってな。ちょうど派手に暴れ回ってる奴がいたから構ってやったんだが。
He glanced at Ray, then looked back at me. His eyes narrowed into slits.
余計なものまでついてきたようだな。
Extravagance. His gaze was directed over my shoulder. Everyone is here! I turned to look, and my eye widened. There stood Fuyeda, squaring up with Madarame.
藤枝さん。
なんで。
場所を教えられたら駆けつけないわけにはいかないだろう。少々探したが。まあいい。観客が多い分には問題ないからな。
It's Madame. Why wouldn't it let you chat? Madame shrugged casually.
とは、お前は自分の過去を思い出そうとしてるんだってな。手伝ってやる。この場所に見覚えはないか。やめろ。とは。
At this, I look around.
とはを巻き込むな。関係ないだろう。
Taco groaned, glaring at Madarame.
お前が教えてやらなかった代わりに俺がやると言ってるんだ。ふざけるな。とは、あの建物を覚えてるか。
I looked in the direction Madarame pointed. Beneath the setting sun, I could see the silhouette of an old mansion. Instantly, my heart skipped a beat. Then my vision tilted, and a sharp migraine flared up. My legs gave out, and I fell to my knees.
とはほら、少しきっかけを与えてやればいいだけだ。お前。村瀬先生。
As Taco looked about ready to bite Madarame's head off, Fuyeda reached out and touched his shoulder.
あなたも怪我をしている。無理に動かない方がいい。藤枝さん。だが。
Taco shot Fuyeda a pleading look.
なんだ。まだ少し時間がある。遊ぶか。
Madarame fixed Fuyeda with a provocative smirk.
お前でもいいぞ。来い。
Are they going to fight? I forgot what happens after. I remember the general thing, but I don't know what they are going to talk about. Fuyeda walked forward, as if to shield the rest of us.
来ないなら、こっちから行く。
With that, Madarame charged at Fuyeda. But... Dios mío. This guy! Despite his formidable height, he was as fast as a bullet. He closed in and swung his fist. Fuyeda raised his hand and barely blocked it in time. For the briefest of moments, a smile rose up on Madarame's face. However,
甘いな。
he kicked Fuyeda in the guts, knocking the wine out of him and making him stagger. As he righted himself, Fuyeda glared back at Madarame, then lunged forward and swung his fist in kind. His fist in kind. Madarame dodged easily and returned it with a punch to the gut.
もう少しやれるかと思ったが、期待外れだ。
As Folleda doubled over, Madarame began to launch into another attack.
なだめ
I raced over and jumped and jumped in between them. Madame fist grazed my head as I hit the ground on my stomach.
とわ
Taku dashed over to me. Meanwhile, Ray slowly pushed himself up, gritting his teeth in pain. Fuida frowned at me, then turned and glared at Madarame. But Madarame seemed to have lost all interest. His arms hung limply at his sides. His self-assured grin was gone, replaced by a pair of icy eyes that stared down at me.
つまらないことをするなお前
Shut up! Enduring the pain, I glared back at him from the ground. Just then, I heard footsteps racing in our direction.
マダラメさん
At the familiar voice, I raised my head. It was Kotaro. I couldn't see him, but I was sure of it.
塔野が動いた
そうか
Madarame turned away, then paused and looked over his shoulder at me.
時間切れだ変わったなお前
With that, he ran off down the alley.
待て
Taku started to give chases but fell still, wincing and clenching his gut.
動かない方がいいだがここは一旦引きましょう
Gritting his teeth, Taku hung his head in defeat.
君も大丈夫か
私よりドアを
Fuida nodded and walked over to me. He crouched down.
あざになってるな痛みは 大した怪我じゃない どうして飛び出したんだ
As he spoke, he grimly took my arm and held me up.
なんとなく
With his help, I slowly rose to my feet.
それにしても随分好戦的な男だったな君の
Sorry, this is... It's so funny. Now that I wasn't expecting, I look at him in surprise.
なんだって 昔の男と言った違うのか違う
I'm sorry, this whole combo, it's so funny. I shot back and turned away. Exactly how much of my life story had this asshole managed to dig up?
君もだが村瀬先生と泉君も重傷だクリニックへ戻った方がいい一人で歩けるかああ
I nodded. He walked over to Taku and Ray and helped them both to their feet. As they slowly started walking, I followed after them. So the meme that I saw was basically Madarame appears, throws Towa in front of that building, and my job here is done. Goodbye. Basically. The clinic was still just as messy as I had left it, so Fulleda and I quickly tied up the exam room, then brought Taku and Ray in for some simple first aid.
終わりました
Once he was finished, Fulleda let out a small sigh.
迷惑をかけた悪かったな
Taku donned a guilty smile, then looked over at Ray lying on the exam table beside him. Ray had clearly reached his limits because as soon as the first aid was over, he passed out. His breathing was slow and rhythmic.
二人同時に手当てをしたのはさすがに初めてでした手慣れてるな村瀬先生の指示があったからな
As he spoke, I thought back to his scarred body.
しかし随分と散らかされたもんだな
No, my job here is done. Exactly. He glanced around the slightly less messy exam room and sighed.
道具を取りに行くついでに他の場所も少し見てみましたが薬品と書類の棚がかなり荒らされてましたそうか
Taco stared pensively at the floor, nodding slightly. Does that mean Madarame has figured out what Tono wants and has potentially stole the drugs he was making for him? Question mark, question mark.
マダラメの仲間は遠野が動いたと言ってましたね。村瀬先生、何かご存知ですか？彼にデスマッチエリアへ来るように連絡をしたのはマダラメですね。
Fuyeda glanced over at me as he spoke.
マダラメがあなたを連れ去った。合っていますか？
Taco answered without looking up.
では、その理由は？
As Taco remained silent, Fuyeda narrowed his eyes.
村瀬先生。
Taco's expression stiffened. Then, at last, he conceded.
俺が遠野の仕事に関わっているからだ。
遠野の仕事？
ああ。マダラメは俺を連れ去ることで遠野にプレッシャーをかけようとしたんだろう。
どちらも直接本人のところへ行けばいいもの。なぜこんな回りくどいことを？
ゲームがショーの感覚なんだろう。
So, I think he is the oldest of all of them, and he has gone so through much shit. I think he's just tired of everything, and he just wants to have a peaceful life. He's just very done. And who wouldn't be in his situation?
なるほど。あなたが手伝っていた遠野の仕事とは？
Like, his whole life he has kind of been following more or less what Tono wanted of him to do. And like the maker's purpose for him to study and all of that was his mother that ended up passing out, so the poor man needs a break. After a heavy silence, Taco exhaled.
新しい薬物の製造だ。遠野はそれを新興民に流通させて外にも流すつもりでいる。
新しい薬？そもそも新興味は高里組が許可した薬物以外禁止されているのでは？
それは全組長までのルールだ。薬をばらまけば手っ取り早く儲けることができる。遠野は榊が次の組長だと言われていることが気に食わないようだからな。強引にでも新しいビジネスを始めて榊を蹴落としたいんだろ
う。なるほど。
Taco let out an sign and buried his face in his hands.
俺は自首するつもりだ。薬の製造以外にも高里組から公にできない仕事を受けていた。高里組に借金があった。だから断ることができなかった。だがそれが許される理由になるとは思っていない。
Golden but not housewife. Pretty much.
それからどう？
He lowered his hands and looked at me.
マダラメが示していた場所を覚えてるか？あるいは思い出したか？いや、知りたいか？
He looked at me intently. I looked back at him and nodded.
ああ、そうか。わかった。
He averted his eyes, summoned his resolve, and then looked back.
あの場所にあったのはお前の母親マヤさんの店だ。
Very Madarame to beat 3 people badly just to show to a house. Yes. Yes. Maya's business. Euphoria. I hear Fuyeda inhale sharply. Tension filled the air as Taku fell silent, his expression one of a bitter regret.
また明日迎えに来る。
It was Fuyeda who finally broke the silence. He spoke with a perfect poker face, then turned and headed for the door. Then he left the exam room, and the silence returned.
どう
Taku meant my name.
怒ってるか。
I look at him in silence.
怒るって何を？
黙ってたことだ。
お前はその方がいいと思ったからそうした。それだけだろ。
At my response, he stared down sadly at his feet.
部屋に戻る。
ああ、
お前は？
今日はここで寝るよ。
わかった。
With that, I left the room. Then I headed to the elevator. But as I crossed the familiar clinic floor, my feet felt like lead. Whoops, sorry for that. Hey. So hot and melty. I lay in the center of the room, scarlet light flickering all around me. Someone was standing to my left, silhouetted by the light. I couldn't see her face, but judging from her petite build, I knew it was a woman. Then I sensed a presence on my right. I looked over. Another figure was standing there. This one was much smaller than the woman on my left, a young girl, but I couldn't see her face either. The woman and girl stood there in silence, with the scarlet light in their backs. But when I listened closely, I could hear the girl sobbing. Her voice was filled with sorrow, and it made my heart ache. As for the woman, however, I couldn't sense a thing. She was just standing there quietly. Then, out of nowhere, the scarlet light enfused both of them. It ravaged them like flames, dissolving their figures into mist. And after they had been blurred away completely, I thought I heard the girl's voice. Okay. That was pretty nasty. Even worse than normal. When I opened my eye, my heart was racing abnormally fast. I rose from the sofa and headed to the bathroom. The floor was no longer littered with the mirror shards, but the mirror itself was still very much broken. I stepped into the shower stall and turned on the hot shower. After I washed my hair and body, I walked out and towed myself off. Then I got dressed and returned to the living room to find Taku and Ray waiting for me.
おはよう、とわ。もう昼だけど、ご飯作ってきたから久しぶりにどうかなと思って。
Ray smiled awkwardly, his braces and cuts still fresh and grisly.
テーブルの上片付けるぞ。
A moment of peace finally in this route. Taku cleared off a space on the coffee table and Ray set his plastic containers down.
長谷川さんのことはもう知ってるか？
Taku sat down in the chairs across from the sofa and shot me an inquiring look.
知ってる。
そうか。
He fell silent and looked at the floor.
ね、ご飯食べましょう。冷めちゃうし。
A food picture after so long. Ray spoke cheerfully as he sat down next to Taku. The table was now covered in plates, forks, drinks, and open containers of food.
いただきます。
Wait. Taku looked like he had something more to say, but he reluctantly picked up his fork.
ミニオムレツ、ツナサンド、チキンのトマト煮込みをどうかしら。
Hold on, I can hear the wind move. Is it cold? It's cold! Okay, I will open the window for a bit. Just a tiny bit, so I don't melt that fast. Taco took a bite of his tuna sandwich.
うまい。
よかった。せっかくだからトアも食べて。
Those mini omelets in. I guess they are the ones on the right. I don't know. Red pepper, maybe? I have no idea. Ooh. Ray grabbed my plate, put some food on it, and handed it back. I slowly stood up and took the plate. This put a smile on his face. Left? Maybe the wine, it's too much, never mind. I pick up my fork, slice off a bit of the omelette and slid it out into my mouth. It felt like an eternity had passed since the last time I have tasted Ray's home cooking. I looked over at him as he ate in silence. His injured face was painful to look at. Just then a question rose in my mind. Back when Madarame summoned me to the deathmatch area, what was Ray doing there? I froze and looked at him.
何があった？
Atmospheric, you were able to hear it, I'm sorry. At this, Ray frowned and looked at me. At first he didn't seem to understand what I was asking, but as I gazed at him wordlessly, it dawned on him. All of a sudden, Ray looked like he was on the verge of tears. He held his head, pursing his lips tightly.
私、あの時、マダラメと戦ってたの。榊さんの命令で。
榊の。
He looked up.
私、父親が。もうずっと会ってないんだけど、高里組に借金をしてて。そのことで脅されて、榊さんにマダラメを牽制しろって言われてたの。
I guess in this route, Madarame is more of a maintenance in general, so it will be more useful for Sakaki to send Ray over than to do the death matches.
タクがやってる
The
こと
money
も
matches.
榊さんから聞かされて、本当は知ってたの。
He squeezed his eyes shut.
ずっと隠してて。ごめんなさい。
Taco's expression stiffened, and he fell silent. Likewise, Ray bit his lip as the blood rained from his face. I knew he was the one who went out of his way to set up this group lunch for us, and it probably would have been kinder to keep my mouth shut and avoid disturbing the peace, but I was compelled to ask. Neither of them seemed eager to talk about their problems, but I wasn't going to judge them. It didn't matter if it was right or wrong. It was what they had each decided for themselves, aka none of my business. And the same applied to me too. No one had the right to stop me from learning about my past, no matter what came of it. After that, the conversation died, and we spent the rest of the lunch in icy silence. Once we had finished our hour lunch period, Taku and Ray left the room. As for me, I reclined on the sofa with a cigarette and started thinking. I never imagined that Sakaki would threaten Ray. If it was about his own death, that would have been one thing, but his father's, that was a low blow. Add this to the bombing of Fuyeda's office, and it was clear Sakaki was starting to go overboard. Maybe the conflict with Tono was starting to get under his skin. As I exhaled grey smoke, I heard the elevator start to move. Then the door opened, and in walked Fulleda. Come to think of it, he had mentioned something about coming to pick me up.
調子はどうだ
He hadn't even bothered to knock, and yet he didn't seem to feel bad about it either.
別に
I answered catly, then crushed my cigarette in the ashtray and lit a new one. You are not very fine.
そうかそれなら出かける準備をしろ
どこへ
Squinting in the cigarette smoke, I look up at him.
マヤの店だデスマッチエリアでマダラメが指定した場所を覚えているかマダラメや村瀬先生が言っていた通りあの場所に店がある正確には店だった建物だがな日が高いうちであればデスマッチの参加者もそれほどいないだろう
Admittedly, the deathmatch area was practically deserted during daylight hours. Of course, this meant we could be driving attention to ourselves, but we would be in relatively less danger.
準備をするのにも助けが必要か
As I leaned back against the sofa, I attempted to pass whether he was joking.
誰が
I rose to my feet, pulled on my coat, and stuffed my phone and smokes into my pocket. Oof. Okay. Get ready. Get ready. I headed downstairs. I left the building. It was windy today, and a cold gust of air assaulted my face and hair. Outside, Fulleda was already waiting for me. I walked up to him. Do you say anything? No. A place lost to time. In the deathmatch area, every store was shattered. You could see the passage of time in the thick layers of dust. It was 12:50 p.m. The sky was faintly grey, concealing the sun, and the air was freezing cold. Together, Fulleda and I travelled deeper into the decay. Until nightfall, this place was a ghost town. While the buildings often look eerie, draped in shadow, here in broad daylight they just look like the forgotten husk of a city that once was. That being said, the deathmatch area was never truly empty. As we walked, I could sense a presence standing alone behind us.
つけられてる
Fulleda whispered to me without turning his head. Approximately 5 of them, by my count. The next instant, the rhythmic footsteps suddenly exploded into fury.
来るぞ
Into flurry. Hey. Fulleda started running, and I followed suit. But at one point, the present footsteps split up. Spectacled, I kept running. Then, 2 men ran out from a side street. I could hear the rest of them approaching from behind. They must have split into 2 groups in order to box us in.
こんな真っ昼間からどうした兄ちゃんたち道に迷っちまったのか
Fulleda glared at them from under his eyebrows. Normally, I couldn't be more than happy to let them all torment me. But right now, I was on a mission.
なれるか
Fulleda asked me under his breath.
あんたはどうする
なんとかなる
As he spoke, he threw down the bag he was carrying. Then all the men looked at us. Crunching my tongue, I dodged the first that came barreling in my direction. These dudes were clearly inexperienced fighters, and it was all too easy to find an opening. One by one, I threw out punches to the jaw and gut, toppling them to the ground. After the third guy was down for the count, I looked over to see how Fulleda was doing. It's like the article like the ugliest NPC. I can't defend that. He was standing outright, shoulders heaving as he gasped for breath. Meanwhile, his opponents were all groaning on the ground.
意外とやるんだな。
I thought I might have to rescue him, but clearly I was worried over nothing. He retrieved his back, then looked at me.
それなりには。
ホスト時代に培ったスキルか。
I teased him and he grimaced.
ノーコメントだ。
Okay, that's cute, okay. He glared back at me, then dusted off his jacket and started walking. Apparently, he wasn't eager to talk about his past.
高里組が巡回しているはずだ。注意して進むぞ。
あ、
He stayed onward and purposely chose dark, narrow alleys as we progressed. But whenever we tried to get closer to Maya's mansion, we sensed people nearby. Then we had taken a detour, and before long, I started to suspect that we were farther away than when we started.
このままだと目的地の周辺を回っているだけでいつまで経ってもたどり着けないな。
Fuida leaned against the alley wall and peered out. Just then, out of nowhere, we hear a commotion.
なんだ
The men loitering the streets all started to panic. Then they formed a circle and started talking.
何かあったようだな。今のうちに行くぞ。
あ、
There was a mansion. More like his mom owned a mansion. And so we got past while they were distracted. Okay. Here we go. At last, we arrived at our destination. The large, dilapidated mansion stood at the center of District A, the Deathmatch area. This was Euphoria, Maya's establishment. The building stood surrounded by overgrown weeds, in its paints old and peeling. To me, it looked like a haunted house.
店には見えないな。
As Fuida gazed up at the mansion, I became aware of a weight in my chest, ever so faintly suffocating. My heart started to race, and the back of my neck. Oh, the back. I can't read. The back of my neck flustered hot with impatience. My mother's business. It filled me with dread.
入るぞ。
Let me be. Fuida started walking in the direction of the front entrance, but I wasn't ready to follow him. My legs refused to cooperate, as if they were attached to someone else's body.
どうした
Fuida stopped and looked back at me dubiously.
なんでもない。
Forcing my legs to move, I dragged my heels with every step. Meanwhile, the feeling of dread intensified. Fuida came to a stop in front of the large door, which was head shut with a rusty chain.
俺がやる。
I crouched down in front of the door, pulled out my lock-picking tools, and got to work on the padlock. While it looked like a formidable lock, it was old and nearly busted. I could manage it. After a few attempts, I felt the telltale click of success. Telltale.
開いた。
I pocketed my tools and straightened up.
泥棒の真似事もできるのか。
手先が器用なんだよ。
Fuida rolled his eyes at me, then placed both hands on the door. The creak of the hinges echoed eerily as it slowly opened. All at once the dust rose up, glittering in the rays of the light that streamed in. The interior was dark and reeked of mold. We covered our noses and mouths with our hands so we couldn't choke on the dust. Starlight streaming in through the cracks in the ceiling, faintly illuminating the forgotten splendor of the mansion. I could only imagine how luxurious it must have looked in its heyday. Heyday? A grand staircase. Thick velvet curtains, carefully placed sculptures threatening to topple over. All of it spoke volumes about the kind of place this was. And I hated it. Suddenly, a shudder ran down my spine. The weight of my chest grew heavier, and I clutched impatiently at my shirt collar, fingers trembling.
具合が悪いのか
Fuyeda looked over his shoulder at me.
少しめまいがしただけだ。
It tightened my calf muscles to keep my voice steady. He gazed at me silently for a moment, then turned back and hid it in deeper. At the center of the spacious foyer was a staircase with doors on either side. Halfway up, the staircase split into spirals leading up to the second floor. On the second floor was yet another staircase leading higher.
1階と2階は腐敗が進んでいるようだな。君は3階と4階を調べてくれ。
With that, Fuyeda walked off to explore the foyer. I climbed the giant staircase to the second floor, then headed up to the third floor. The third floor featured 3 doors, 2 of which were open and one which was locked. I walked around the locked rooms, but other than the layers of dust, they seemed unlocked rooms. But other than layers of dust, they seemed like ordinary guest rooms. Next, I climbed the stairs to the 4th floor. Before long, I started to feel like I was running out of oxygen. Gasping for breath, I arrived at the 4th floor on shaky legs. The only source of light was a single small skylight. I stumbled down the dim, musty hall. A steel door came into view. Instantly, I felt like someone had grabbed me by my throat. A headache flared up, and my legs nearly gave out. Once I caught my balance, I looked up. The steel door stood there, blocking my path. Here, in the old crumbly mansion, it alone seemed to radiate timeless strength. It was getting some Forbidden Room vibes. Then, out of nowhere, I found myself thinking, I don't want to go in. I tried to move my feet, but didn't have the strength. My whole body started to sweat, and my vision began to spin. Don't go any farther. It was the same voice again. But just then I realized something. The voice I had been hearing all this time, it was my own. My instincts were trying to warn me. Grinding my teeth, I pressed a hand to the door. It didn't look like it was going to open, and if it didn't, I could simply turn around and leave. With that thought, I pushed the door, but while it was fairly heavy, it opened a lot easier than I expected. I pulled my hand away from the door and exhaled deeply. My symptoms were only worsening, but I couldn't afford to stop now. I forced my unwilling feet to cooperate, all the while sweating like I was in a sauna. The room was dark and musty inside, probably from years of inactivity. The air was humid, it felt like a dog breath. Evidently, there were no windows in here, because it was pitch black. Or rather, it could be if I closed the door. I took another step inside again to stop, calming myself with deep breaths. Then, I pulled out my phone and switched on the flashlight function. My heart skipped a bit and started throwing hard. Don't go any farther. The voice rang out in my head, and I nearly dropped my phone. My fingers were now slick with sweat, but it wasn't from the humidity. Then the door slammed shut behind me, engulfed me in darkness. All I could rely on now was the light from my cell phone. My heart was beating faster and faster, and I grounded through my teeth, struggling desperately to breathe. I could feel my legs backing again, so I reached out on reflex, and my hand touched the wall. Maybe I should turn back after all. But what if there is a clue about my past in here? Perhaps that was my subconscious mind, what my subconscious mind was truly afraid of. Digging my nails into the wallpaper, I held my way forward. With my other hand, I held up my phone light. As far as I could see in the dim glow of my phone, there wasn't much here. Here and there, I got glimpses of dirty carpet and old-fashioned wallpaper, faded and peeling. I was expected to find something important in here, so it kinda threw me for a loop. Maybe my paranoia got the better of me. I still felt sick, but my fear was primarily of the unknown. Now that I knew what was here, it was no big deal. Quietly, I scoffed at myself. As I scanned the weather area with my phone light, I caught sight of a black stain on the floor. A black stain. It was old and rot deep in the carpet. Upon further inspection, I realized it wasn't black, but dark brown. Just then, my vision pitched sideways. Everything went blank. Wet blank. I hear something heavy hit the floor and opened my eye, but my body refused to budge. Belatedly, I realized I had hit the floor. I tried to get up, but my headache was now 1,000 times more painful, and I went. My ears were ringing sharply, drowning out my thoughts I might otherwise have had. No, not a ringing sound. Voices. Several voices overlap, forming a discongruous drone that tormented my senses. Shut the fuck up. I wanted to shut it out. My limbs were frozen and numb. Immobile. Immobile? I felt powerless, like I was fighting against the current while it was pulling me under. I couldn't breathe. The threat of unfamiliar voices shrieked inside my head like a hurricane, and I couldn't think straight. No. Stop. Go away. I curled up and shielded my head as if to defend myself from something. I could hear myself hyperventilating and my abdominal muscles were spasming. The numb feeling in my limbs grew more intense, spreading throughout my whole body. The headache, the deafening drone, the rapid breaths. It felt like someone was stirring my brain around with a wooden spoon. Unable to bear it, I passed out. Please help him. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. A small pair of lips formed each syllable one by one, parting slowly to pronounce them. It's okay. It was a woman's voice. Seductively, scarlet light danced over the walls and floor. Her painted red lips spread into a smile. At first, her face was blurry like a bad photo, but eventually she came into focus. This woman with a soft smile was my mother. I remember her now. The instant I regained consciousness, vivid memories overlaid themselves on top of the distinct room. Images flowed in front of my eye, as if someone had hit play on my forgotten past. As a child, I spent the majority of my time here, and I was always terrified of the silence that came whether I was alone. Every day, someone different would come into this room. I was always blindfolded whenever we could play together, but I could figure out their gender and age range from their voices and presence. Results varied widely from day to day. Sometimes they could request for two children to play with each other. These people would always smile at me. I could feel their glee, even if I couldn't see it. But their smiles weren't meant to reassure me. It was the delight of a predator who had found the perfect prey to state their desires. I remembered now. I remember what I used to do in this room, and what was done to me. All of it.
Oi.
The sudden bright light made me squeeze my eyes shut. Once it faded, I opened it again and found Fuyeda there.
どうした？何かあったのか？
My mind was drawing a blank. I tried to process what he was saying, but I felt confused. What was he doing here? Then I realized I was lying on the floor. He was kneeling beside me. The bright light from earlier was his cell phone light.
動けるか？
He slipped an arm around my back and slowly eased me into a sitting position. As time passed, my brain started to function again, and the memories came flooding back. As a child, I was always locked up in here. And this was the place where I... A sudden wave of nausea struck. Clapping a hand to my mouth, I turned away.
大丈夫か？
The auditory hallucinations overlapped with his voice, and my stomach emptied its content on the floor. Then the headache and deafening drone returned.
その言葉
言葉？
言うな、それを。
それ？何のことだ？
If he said it again, I felt like I was going to puke my guts out.
大丈夫。
I felt a familiar urge within in the back of my throat, but I managed to hold it in.
何か思い出したのか？
I gasped for breath.
よく母親が言ってたその言葉を笑いながら、俺が何をされようとどんな目に遭おうとも大丈夫って。
I always hated that word. Every time I hear it, my vision will blur a little. There is a canon reason why that happened. I found that detail super neat. But I had never understood why, until now.
思い出したんだな。過去。
Slowly, I nodded.
いつからかその言葉を聞くたびに自分の感覚が死んでいくような気分になった。どうにもならないような絶望的な状況でもあの女は笑いながら言ってた。だからその言葉は俺にとっては呪いだった。
一体過去に何があった？
I closed my eye and exhaled. It took some courage to recount the very memories I had spent so long trying to never remember. Frankly, I wished I could forget them all over again.
マヤの店については長谷川が言っていた通りだ。年派もいかない子供がたくさんいていろいろなことをやらされてた。俺もそのうちの一人だった。
待ってくれ。マヤは君の母親だろう。それはつまり実の子供に客を取らせていたと。
ああ、
He stared at me, mouth agape.
俺の体の傷はその時につけられたものもある。生稲、朝倉、桐原。客の名前だ。この部屋で俺を傷つけた。
That's right, I remember now. At the time I was blindfolded, I couldn't be sure, but now I was confident. That torn out paper was a record of the scars from my past.
それじゃ君の妹のことはどうなんだ？思い出したのか？
I sucked in a breath and looked away.
思い出した。けど
I squeezed my eyes shut. A vision of the girl rose up behind my eyelid, the same face I could never remember before. Slowly, I opened my eye again.
この部屋で俺と妹は一緒にいた。そう思ってた。
違ったのか？
ああ。
My voice shook and I pursed my lips.
俺と一緒にいたのはあんたの手帳に挟まってた写真の子だ。
Fuyeda's expression twisted, and he let out a quivering breath. His mouth thrusted and darkened in color. All this time, we had fought over the bunny toy. I thought it belonged to my sister, while Fuyeda thought it belonged to her friend's sister. Turned out Fuyeda was right. That toy didn't belong to my sister. She didn't die of an illness. This whole time I was wrong. She wasn't even my little sister at all. I had simply deluded myself into thinking she was. Fuyeda had called the girl in the photo Yuzuki Mei. He was so obsessed with finding her, and now he looked like his whole world was falling apart. Was Yuzuki Mei really his friend's little sister?
聞きたいことがある。
なんだ？言ってみろ。
Okay, here we go with the first save love menu. With the first like game over part. We are so close. It's literally going to happen now. Here. I mean, it's short, but that girl in the photo. I should tell him.
そうか。
She's gone. That girl. She tried to help me.
そうか。
She did?
話せない。なんで。
なんだ？
もう何も見えない。
おい、しっかりしろ。とわ。
I didn't really understand. Translucent matte enveloped all sound and images, dissolving them away. Someone grabbed my shoulder, shaking me. I could tell they were saying something, but I couldn't parse it. More importantly, Scarlet filled my vision. Ah, yes, the special room. I could better do what I'm told. Mom. And we got the game over. the memories were too much and he lost it. Was that it? Yeah. Did he just go crazy? I think he just sat down. Yes, he couldn't take it anymore. He like went back to how things went back then, I guess. And I guess he just became like a tool for his mother again, in a sense. Mental breakdown, yeah. The bad ending is worse. And that's the next thing we are going for, so... I think, yeah. But man... And we are still to come across the scene that I saw and I was like, okay, I need a break. This is not even the worst. There is even worse coming. A ver, yeah. It hurts so much because all of the bad thing that Toa goes through, it's so much. Anyways, let's wait until the credits are over. If you skip any credits on Nitro Title visual novels, you won't get the final CG at the end, that the congratulations one for finishing the game. Don't skip the credits. Important. Honestly, this small break before continuing, I needed it because it's so hard to see Towa go through so much shit. Like, can you understand now why Taco doesn't want to tell him anything at all? Like, keeps erroring me and stopping my messages? It's on me. Wow. To walk him straight, yeah. I guess YouTube is a bit today. But so far, like, there hasn't been like any downs on the connection and no frames lost, so hopefully everything will be okay once the body's up. Sorry, the chat is wonky, I can't control that. That's why I say, like, at the beginning it's whatever, but once you finish the game, you don't want anything bad to happen to Towa. You don't want anything bad to happen to him ever again after you finish everything. It's like, must protect the baby. He's still a gremlin, but it's a gremlin that needs to be cared for, okay? Where is... okay, there. We now continue, and it takes a tiny bit to reach the next division for the bad ending. I don't know how far. Maybe if I make a long stream and they aren't talking too loudly, maybe I can finish it today. Okay, let's do it correctly now. In a dumper. Fair. That girl in the photo. I should tell him. She's gone. I'm so confused at this point. Hi then, welcome. Say nothing. If you just join in the middle of this, no wonder you're confused. That girl. Positive.
向き合う。
She tried to help me.
そうか。
Say nothing. Ugh. When she was with me. She always cheered me up. She was worried about me.
そうか。
I see. She told me.
見えた。
She told me never to give up. Back then, might be blood, but I gotta say, oh.
ここで。
She asked me to run away with her. That girl. She's not my sister. Right.
赤い。みんな赤く。
赤。
赤い。全部赤く。俺も彼女も。
どうした？おい。しっかりしろ。くそ。戻ってこい。とわ。
He can hear him.
俺を呼ぶ声が聞こえた。
He's not going to have the voice line now. Please, show me one more time. Show you what? Her.
思い出した。これが。
Okay, that was some.
少女の写真。写真。
あ。
見せてくれ。
His hand is huge. We don't talk about. Fuyeda pulled the photo from his memo pad. The photo of Yuzuki Mei. He pursed his lips tightly, holding something back.
お前の妹か。
そうだ。
俺に妹はいない。子供の頃一緒にいたのはお前の妹だ。
Draw attention because I can't unsee, okay?
忘れてた。今まで全部。
君は。そうか。
Wait, I knew it. That's the girl I was with.
それは。
You're sure of that?
ああ。
おい。
Hey.
思い出した。
He can't say her name.
無理するな。
Don't exert yourself. Say nothing.
落ち着け。
Relax, just tell me what you can. If I can just speak, even a tiny whisper.
まだ
おい、
Say nothing.
そうだな。
Perhaps we will better get out of here. We will better get out of here. Can't let my past keep me down.
しっかりしろ。
You're going to cut your throat.
聞かせてほしい。
If you feel able to talk, then please continue. What were you going to say?
そうだった。これが
Atata. Yuzuki me.
柚木メイ。柚木メイ、お前の妹の名前か。
そうだ。
お前の妹は客を取らされている俺のことを気にかけて一緒に逃げようと言ってくれた。諦めたらダメだって最後までそう言ってた。俺もその時思ったんだ。逃げようって。理由はわからない。でもなぜかそう思って二人で逃げ出そうとして捕まって連れ戻されて、俺はひどく痛めつけられた。彼女のことはそれから見なくなったんだ。ただ戻された部屋にはぬいぐるみが転がってて、彼女が大切そうにずっと持ってた。変わったのはその後からだ。彼女を殺したのがあの女、母親なんだと思ったらよくわからない感情がこみ上げてきて、それがどうしようもない怒りだってことに後から気づいた。あの女から離れようとそう思わせてくれたのは彼女だった。
それは本当なんだな。
ああ。
Now he can see the name. Yuzuki Mei. After I told him everything, Fuyeda's expression was a blank canvas. His eyes were soulless and empty. His usual confidence was gone, and his smile was fading weakly. Silently, he took me by the arm and holding me up onto my feet. Then we turned and staggered unsteadily out of the room. The door swung shut, and his cell phone light disappeared with it. In the darkness, I realized something was gleaming by my feet. It was my cell phone. I might have dropped it. Thankfully, the flashlight function was still on. Fulleda! Why did you leave him alone in the room? I like him, but he's so... I picked it up and started to sign it around, but I changed my mind. I turned the beam of light towards the steel door and slowly started walking. I could only vaguely remember what happened after that. At some point, Fulleda disappeared, strayed Maya's mansion and went back to the clinic. I arrived as the sun was setting. Right as I walked in, however, I heard a commotion. The ramshackle first floor was now neatly tidied up. Thought it wasn't exactly the way it was before. Without thinking too hard, I walked into the waiting room. There, Arimura flagged me down. Now that I thought about it, wasn't the clinic supposed to close for the winter holidays? If Arimura was here, then something must have happened. I could hear him rambling at me, but my brain was switched off, and I couldn't understand him. Something about an attack. Lot of amazing patience. I guess Madarame has made an attack. To me, it felt like it was all happening on another planet. I went up to my apartment, pulled off my coat, grabbed a bottle of booze off the floor and sat down on the sofa. I poured the alcohol down my parched throat, then stared into space without bothering to turn the TV on. When I regained my lost memories of Maya's mansion, it fucked me up really hard. Now, in the calm after the storm, my head was just empty. I wasn't rejecting my past. My brain just couldn't process it fully. Still, I could tell that something was distinctly changed. I felt guilty. Until now, this was highly uncommon for me. Maybe I used to feel this way as a kid, but if so, I sure couldn't remember it. But now feelings of guilt had sprung up in my head regarding that girl, Fulleda's little sister. She was my ray of light. Back then, I was powerless to oppose my birth mother's cruelty. The little girl was the only one who reached out to me. But now, she was gone. She tried to help me escape, but we were captured, and after that I never saw her again. Most likely she was murdered. By Maya. If only I could have died in her place. No matter what they put her through, they never broke that little girl's spirit. She always used to tell me that her big brother was coming to save us. Surely she deserved to live way more than I ever did. I signed, leaned back against the sofa and closed my eye. I was always so complacent with my city life. I made all my own choices, so if I couldn't up dead, I had no regrets. Or so I told myself. But what if I was only alive at someone else's expense? What if the only thing that spared my life was the sacrifice of another, more worth live? Could I still claim that I was expendable? Now I was questioning my entire life story. I was anxious and unstable. Did my life have any meaning? Was there any point of being alive if it meant she had to die? As I stamped into a depressive state, I hear a shy knock at the door. Then it slowly opened and Ray walked in. I could still see bruises and cuts on his face.
急にごめんね。今急患が運ばれてきてるから、ドアにも手伝ってもらおうかと思ったんだけど。
He seemed to sense that something was going on with me because he paused to search for the right words.
何かあった？
何も。
I answered in a low voice without looking at him. I didn't want to talk to anyone.
でも、
ほっといてくれ。
The words weakly left my lips.
そう。
頼むから、ほっといてくれ。
My voice was too harsh to be commanding. It faded uselessly. All I wanted was to be alone. He started to say something, but instead quietly left the room. After the door shut behind him, I staggered to my feet and headed to the bathroom. There I stood in front of the sink and stared at myself in the mirror fragments. My face looked just like Maya from my dreams. Slowly, my lips curled into a smile. No, I was hallucinating. I wasn't smiling at all. Uncontrollable anger welled up inside me, and I punched the mirror as hard as I could. The remaining mirror fragments splintered outwards. Then I slammed my face onto it again and again. After that, I slowly slid down into a crouching position. Flecks of blood drip onto the shards of glass on the floor. It's okay now. It's okay. Her voice echoed in my ears. I screamed and staggered to my feet. Then, without bothering to wash my face or even grab my coat, I left the apartment. Downstairs, I led through the side entrance and staggered out into the narrow alley. It's not okay, is he? No, he is not. Outside, the sun had set, and it was getting dark. I traveled silently down the alley. No one else was around to see my bloody face. Then the park came into view up ahead. Beneath the navy sky tinted faintly with orange, the strip lamps flickered to life. I walked into the park and headed straight for the concrete tunnel. Then I crawled inside, leaning against the cold wall, and let out a small sigh. My brain still felt fuzzy. Hot-dried blood dripped down from my forehead, emitting a strong coppery smell. A spontaneous shiver ran down my spine. Not only had I left without a coat, but I had lost more blood than I initially realized. My next thought was to light a cigarette to stay warm, but I hadn't brought those either. I don't think Fuyeda is very okay though. I don't think he is. I pressed the back of my head against the concrete and closed my eye. It's okay. Maya's voice revived in my ears. I had to remember everything. Everything she used to do. What she used to be like. All this time I was told she was a wonderful woman with a quiet personality. And in a sense that was true. But those things only applied to her outward persona. On the inside, however, that woman was cunning and cruel. She could order someone's murder with a soft smile on her face. That was how she treated me. She treated me too. She treated me like an object without a button of glass. I was never able to oppose her. If I tried to resist, I would be severely punished. Maya was the kind of woman who couldn't be satisfied unless she got her way. She could use any means to achieve her ends. She could wear a stunning smile to deceive everyone around her, then lead her prey into a trap to get rid of them. If I got to guess, she was probably a psychopath. That was how she managed to play the part of the perfect woman. She could tell exactly what you wanted at any given time, and she would offer it to you. To her, everything in the world was a toy at her disposal. Her own son was little more than a doll. A mannequin to be dressed at pose at a whim. How did she feel watching her clients torment her biological child at Euphoria? It felt like my whole life had gone according to her plans, and it made me sick. Why did I have to choose the same name as her business? All because of these disgusting blood ties. It made me want to puke. I let out a long, shaky breath. Was the cold getting to me, or... I wrapped my arms around my legs and buried my face in my knees. Back then, I was just her property, her plaything. But what about now? I didn't understand why I was still alive. My existence was so utterly meaningless, choosing to die could be even more pathetic. These questions swirled around in my head, driving me to the brink of insanity.
殺すなんてお前にとっちゃ生ぬるいだろ。どうすればもっと痛めつけられるんだ。
Looking back, Fujita was right about me. Death was a mercy for someone like me. I crawled out of the tunnel and started walking. I didn't want to think about anything anymore, so I would need to find a way to switch my brain off. Be it pain or pressure, I didn't mind either way. I wanted to make myself utterly incapable of coherent thought. Outside the tunnel, it was now pitch dark. With the light of the street lamps at my back, I headed down the shadowy street. Knowing what's coming doesn't make this easy. The ground was painfully cold against my cheek. I took a few shallow breaths, blinking slowly. I didn't want to think about anything, and now I was lying on a dark alley like a piece of trash, just as planned. I wanted someone to beat me up to pulp, so I picked a fight with a group of nasty-looking thugs. The men were gathered at the dead end of the alley, getting high on drugs. Illegal drugs judged from their bloodshot eyes and restless fidgeting. That's why I chose them. At first, they scrutinized me suspiciously, but when I told them they could do whatever they wanted to me, they readily agreed. From their perspective, they didn't care that I was a guy, as long as I could make them feel good. In the end, I was punched and kicked until I puked up my stomach acid, then tied up and can't maybe Cesar, probably, yeah. But just, yeah. I mean, it's pretty dark, so it's not like you can see it all, but you get that idea. When the force reached my head, they stared and tried to tear it wider. It lasted for what felt like hours. After they got bored, they left me on the ground, in the alley, pants off, filled and covered with different fluids. My body was in agony. If someone were to see me, they would probably think I was dead. But I didn't mind. If anything, I felt like they didn't go far enough. I wanted more. Slowly, I sat upright and slightly dressed myself. Wincing and the sting of pain in my eyes, I put a hand to the wall and heated myself onto my feet. I coughed down at the ground, and blood and saliva trickled out. Must have cut my mouth when I got punched. If this still wasn't enough, then the only option left could be to do off myself. I leaned against the wall and thought about it. If I wanted to die, how would I go about it? Eventually, I remembered all those cans of paint thinner in my apartment. My lips twisted into a sneer as I started walking, one hand braced against the wall. I need to get back to the clinic before sunrise. If anyone saw me like this, things could only get more complicated. Unfortunately, the pain made it hard to walk. Those dudes might have broken a couple of ribs. Nevertheless, I continued one step at a time, hoping death would bring me comfort at last. Carefully, I crept into the clinic through the side entrance, then climbed the stairs to my apartment. I couldn't risk Taku or Ray finding me, not this time. Once I finally dragged my heavy body all the way home, I laid out an exhausted sigh. Then I walked over to the graveyard of flip canvases. Those paintings represented all the art I have created within my lifetime, and they came all in different sizes. I grabbed a few and tossed them onto the floor. Once they were all in the same area, I walked over and arranged them so they formed a cycle around me. Then I scattered my paints, brushes and wooden palettes and a sketch patch on top. Once everything was in place, I stepped out of the makeshift canvas circle. Then I grabbed my coat off the floor and retrieved my phone, cigarettes and lighter. I lit a cigarette, took a long drag and checked the phone screen. I had received a call from Fuyeda a few hours ago, messages too. But I didn't care about anything at all. I tossed my phone onto the sofa. After I finished my smoke, I crashed the butt in the ashtray, then carried the lighter back with me to the canvas circle. Then I grabbed a bucket of highly flammable paint thinner and dabbed it over my head. The pungent stench clogged my nostrils, and the thinner made my open wounds sting. Now I just need to lift myself up, and it will all end. Here I was, moments away from my aunt demise, and my heart was as peaceful as moonless night. No fear, no impatience, nothing. Just the faint hope of freedom, a glimpse of the light at the end of the tunnel. Looking around, it felt like I was the sacrificial offering of some kind of summoning cycle, and it made me laugh. I should have done this sooner. All this time, I didn't feel the need to die, so I simply let myself exist. I figured death would come for me eventually, because I never found who I was truly meant to be. I wasn't even human, just my mother's plaything. Every breath that filled my lungs was taken in trade for a more worthy life. Now that I have learned the truth, I would finally reach enlightenment. I had finally reached enlightenment. I couldn't simply wait around for death. Death was my moral imperative. Paint thinner dripped from my bangs as I gazed down at the lighter. Soon it would finally end. All of it. Now all I had to do was... Wait. I took a deep breath and started to flick the lighter. But then, out of nowhere, the door flew open. Holding the lighter, I slowly turned to look. Fuyeda stared at me in stunned silence. He scanned the room, then looked back at me.
何をしている?
His voice sounded so strange now that the room was stained with my pathetic ritual sacrifice.
関係ないだろう。
My voice cracked, and I turned away.
死ぬつもりなのか?
At this, I almost burst out laughing. Congratulations, you have eyes.
見たまんまだよ。
In spite of my amusement, my voice came out curt and flat.
何しに来た?
君に電話をした。メッセージも送った。
知らない。
だろうな。そう思って直接来たんだ。君は
He paused to choose his words carefully.
自分で描いた絵とともに心中するつもりなのか? 過去を思い出したのが原因か?
He wasn't his usual self. I could feel the tension in the way he enunciated every word.
ユーフォリアの絵は人の欲望が最高潮に達した瞬間を描いてる。けどそれは あの女がマヤがやっていたことと同じだった。あの女はユーフォリアという名前の店で客が心に秘めた欲望を解放する手助けをしていた。それどころかお前の妹まで。
His expressions clouded over, and he frowned slightly.
俺はあの女の息子で道具だった。あの女は目的のためなら平気で人を傷つけて殺すことができる。そんな女に育てられて生きる術を教え込まれた。それがまともな教育だったと思うか。あの女から教わったのは人を思い通りに動かす方法ばかりだ。絵本を読んでもらう代わりにそういう話を聞かされて育った。俺には骨の髄まであの女の考えが染み込んでる。だから無意識に同じ行動をとってる。あの女のコピーなんだよ俺は。でも思い通りにはさせない。俺が死ねば全て終わる。何もかも。
Fuida listened quietly as I spat the words out.
死んで過去が変わるのか。
There was no accusation in his tone.
俺もお前も妹もマヤに振り回されてもてあそばれた。その事実がお前が死ぬことで変わるとでも言うのか。
お前に何がわかる。
苦しいのはお前だけじゃない。死ねば全てが終わる。逃げているだけだろ。
逃げて何が悪いんだよ。
死は一番手っ取り早く楽になる方法だ。過去を思い出してもなお生きることはお前にとって地獄にも等しい苦行になるはずだ。それでも歯を食いしばって生きることに意味があり懺悔にもなる。違うか。
He exhaled and looked away.
俺も地獄を生き抜いてきた。俺はただ妹の真実が知りたくてそのために生きてきたんだ。
His voice shifted to flat exhaustion. His swaying smoke fell still. Just then I realized. He has been fighting all this time. Fuida had clawed his way up from the jaws of certain death, and an endless struggle that had lasted years, whose mind could only be counted in hours.
真実を知って今
If he had lost his purpose in life, then surely he could see the appeal of death, right?
犯人を殺してやりたいと思った。だがマヤはすでに死んでいる。俺は長年抱いてきた憎悪をどう消化すればいいのかわからなかった。心が空っぽになったような気がした。だから妹のことを考えた。こういう時妹ならメイならどういうのかどうするのか。
He paused to exhale sorrowfully.
メイが死んだという真実を知って初めてそう考えることができるようになったんだ。メイの気持ちを考えることができた。それまではただ犯人を追い詰めることだけを考えていた。 とにかく犯人を見つけて殺してやろうと。メイは生きていると信じてそう思い込もうとしていた。だが本当はうすうす分かっていた。メイはきっともうこの世にはいないのだろうと。それでもその事実を受け入れてしまったら動けなくなると思った。
Slowly he clenched his hands into fists.
メイが死んでいたとはっきり分かった時、もう俺の中には怒りも憎悪もなかった。あまりにも時間が長くかかりすぎてとっくの昔に燃え尽きてしまっていた。だから心が空になってようやくメイと向き合った。メイはきっと俺が犯人を殺すことも俺自身が死ぬことも望まない、そういう子だ。メイならきっと生きてほしいと願うだろうと。
He looked at me. His gaze was heartfelt and full of light.
あの子のことを、あの子と一緒にいた時間を思い出したのならお前にもわかるはずだ。あの子はお前を助けようとしたんだろう。お前を放り出すことなく二人で生きようとしたんだろう。メイのおかげで生きる意志を取り戻したとそう言っていただろう。だったらお前は生きてくれ。あの子の最後の望みを叶えてほしいんだ。
The light in his eyes grew stronger and stronger.
お前は人の願望が叶った瞬間を、命を燃やし尽くす瞬間を描いてきたんだろう。ユーフォリア。だったらメイの望みを叶えてくれ。あの子が生かそうとした命を殺さないでくれ。もし少しでもメイを思う気持ちがお前の中にあるのなら、
I stared at the floor. Quietly, I lowered the lighter. How was I supposed to argue with that?
俺は妹の真実を知ることができてよかったと思っている。妹の真実を知らずにいた時よりもいくらか楽になった。お前もマヤの被害者だった。ただマヤの子として生まれてしまっただけで。だから本当に憎むべき相手はお前じゃない。その話をするために来てみたらこれだ。
He chuckled and gazed at me, but for some reason I felt the urge to get away from him. I had never felt like that about anyone before. It scared me to think he could see right through me. As our eyes met, he took a step forward.
俺はこれまでのお前の生き方が嫌いだった。最低だと思っていた。だが本当はお前の気持ちがわかるんだ。分かってしまう。お前はマヤに振り回されてこうなった。妹は母親に売られた。 俺たちも肉親のせいで人生をめちゃくちゃにされた。だからお前の今の姿は俺だったのかもしれないと心の奥では分かってたんだ。初めて会った時から。だがそれを認めるわけにはいかなかった。認めたら今の自分を否定することになる。俺はメイを探すために藤枝亮という鎧をまとってここまで来たんだ。そう思う一方でお前と一緒にいるうちにお前は俺と同じ人間なんだという思いが強くなっていた。メイのことが分かって気持ちの整理がついた後、俺の中にあったのはお前のことだ。
He took another step.
お前を放っておくことはできない。
I stared at the floor, unmoving. He moved in front of me and gently clasped the hand that still loosely held the lighter.
本当にひどい格好だな。オイルの匂いも。
He crouched down slightly to peer at my face. There was no hatred or anger in his eyes, just warmth.
風呂に入れ。万が一引火したら村瀬先生に迷惑だろ。
His voice called at me. It felt almost gentle. Fuya didn't want me to die. He wanted me to live. He wanted to close the door on my chance at death and send me instead down the path of atonement. To close the door on my path of my chance at death. That's a sentence. And who could hate him for that? I certainly didn't have the right to complain, so I couldn't fight it. He put a hand on my back. At this, promptly, I started walking. On the way to the bathroom, I nearly tripped over my own 2 feet, but he caught me. I may have to censor. Once we... he is much better than the others. He is so well written. Also, I need to breathe, because even though it's the second time I'm saying this, it doesn't make it easier. The first time it hit way harder though, but still, oh god. This was the moment when it was guaranteed that Towa was going to be okay, that I knew what was coming, I knew what scene was coming. It's the sour, it's a real game, I knew what's coming, but I had to step down because I need to calm down. Why couldn't Madame me like that? Because he's too busy being horny. While my pain tolerance was pretty high, my body still had physical limitations, and the exhaustion had rendered me immobile.
そのままでいろ。
Just stay like that. Fuya pulled off his jacket and pressed both hands to my head. His minimal fingers combed through my hair.
出血は止まっているか。
Looks like the blending stopped. I don't know which moment I have to censor, so I'm just going to keep it for now. Relieved, he grabbed the shower hand and turned onto the water ever so slightly. Did I glitch for a second there? Did I imagine some... Anyways. At a low pressure.
水で洗ったとしても、おそらく痛むだろう。
Even if we skip the
やめて
show,
おくか。
it will probably stink. Want me to stop? I shook my head. At this point, it didn't matter what part of me hurt.
耐えられなかったら言ってくれ。
He's so soft. If it gets to be too much, let me know. As he spoke, he gradually ran the light sprite of warm water over my head. He looks so... poor baby. The sting wasn't strong at all, but my wounds ached regardless. Then he started gently running his fingers through my hair.
しみるか
Does it hurt? The emotions pulled against my sore skin, but nevertheless I shook my head. For some reason I didn't want him to stop. Yeah, all the blood going away. When I looked down at my feet, I could see blood and pet thinners running down the drain with the water. After he took his time raising my hair, he paused.
服を脱げ脱げるか
He's so kind. This scene, after everything that had just happened, is the best. A moment of peace in which Towa it's taken care of gently and nicely. Please. To do that, I will need to stand up. I put a hand to the tile and slowly pushed myself up. Then I attempted to peel off the wet cloth clinging to my skin, but my fingers were too weak. Foya sensed that I was struggling and joined in to help. Once I was stripped naked, I heard him struggle and look over and reflex.
いや昔メイが小さかった頃着替えを手伝ったことを思い出した
Again, I don't know when I have to censor because I know a scene is coming, but like... His grin was tinged with embarrassment. Then he looked at my body and narrowed his eyes. Scrutinizing my fresh cuts and bruises with a frown, he then turned his attention to my turpentine splattered eye patch. He shot me an inquiring look, silently asking for my blessing. Then I nodded. He gingerly reached out to it. Then he peeled it off of me, exposing my empty right socket. For a while he gazed at it in silence. At one point he started to reach out to it, but caught himself and averted his eyes.
体くらいは自分で洗えるだろう
Just in case. Suddenly his attitude turned stonefish. He stopped the water and set the shower head back on his hook. I leaned against the wall, unmoving. I didn't have the energy for any of that. Then I felt something unpleasant streaking. Yeah. The residue from what happened earlier when we saw Towa lying on the floor. Fujita noticed my behavior and looked at me with a confused frown.
どうした
What's wrong? Fortunately, I looked down at my lower body. He followed my gaze and his frown deepened. Then, out of nowhere, he grabbed my arm. It's... I may have to mute for a bit. You, my friend, are utterly incorrigible. He is helping out with that. I mean, this was merely part of your self-destructed episode, but don't do it again. Don't tell me, I mean, a bit of context is needed to what is happening. Is it going to start here? God, that's actually a bit, yes. Hold on. He's helping, like, watching him in general. Oh! I guess this one can. Wait, no. That's too nice. But look at them, it's so cute. Anyways, let me continue. Thomas' voice is so soft. It's so soft. Ay, por favor, no puedo. But camera, go up, please. I can't show it just yet. Go up. Go up. Go up. Come on, camera. Go up. There. Also the music. We were both scared in the inside fire more than on the outside. And for some reason, his body and his scars, this made his body and his scars all the more precious to me. So bright. Yeah. I reached out and gently trailed a finger over the scars on his arm. The instant I touched him, he flinched faintly. Oh! Ah! They are kissing and it's so cute. Okay, just for a tiny bit. This scene is so soft. Okay, let's continue. Now is when I have to speedrun everything. They're so cute. It's still not over, by the way. They are moving out of the showers to the room. I cannot show this. Such a long scene because I know the speedrunning it as fast. Like, after everything that has gone, this scene hits harder, I guess, because he's been treated with care. Like, Dog was being treated with care now after all that shit that just happened. It's like, let him be taken care of. Okay, I go back to speedrunning. Are they? Ah, yeah, they. It intensifies. Yeah. Mm. Click, click, click. Wait, hold on. At the same time, I was scared I might start to need him. Fuyeda was the only person who shared my scars. I had never met anyone else like him. I spent my whole life telling myself I was better off alone. That catching feelings would only make things complicated, so I never fell in love. The second I got attached to anyone, I cut ties with them. But Fuyeda, I knew I needed to stay away from him, but part of me wished I could sink to even greater depths. I was torn between wanting to run and wanting to stay. I didn't know what to do. I have never been so unsure all my life. This can get to a bad ending. Yeah, we haven't reached that part yet. Oh, there is another phase, I guess, if you want to. Do I show it? But they have. Is it better than this one? I guess, yes. In the same way that the other were. Is. Only a second, okay? There you go. Was that enough? I mean. I got it. Okay. Okay. Change on the CG from another angle. The next part, I don't know how I'm going to do once they are done. I don't know what I'm going to do. Because nothing itself is happening, but you will see. Oh! I raised a hand to block his view, but he grabbed it and pinned it on the... They are holding hands! I... Come on. Yeah, exactly. These belong, okay. Oh, I forgot that, okay. These belong. Broom. Okay. Helicopter, yeah. Then he rolled off of me and headed to the bathroom. I think they are done. And Togo is falling asleep. Recently, I watched him go, and soon afterwards, I found myself sleeping off to sleep. Okay. Again, hold on, because the next part is not that it's showing much, but I don't think I can show it as it is. So let's see. Maybe not to sleep. He fell asleep. That's it. When I awoke, Fuyeda was sitting on the edge of the bed, already showered. Slowly, I rose out of bed and headed to the bathroom to take my turn. Okay, how am I going to do this? I rested my body in the shower. Then slung a towel over my shoulder and walked back to the bed, where I sat down cross-legged. I felt cold for some reason, and when I looked around, I realized the window was open. Must have been Fuyeda. He was already dressed. He showed me and my still naked body a dirty look. Now that I was all freshened up, it finally felt real. Something just happened. Maybe it was only just now sinking in for him too. Despite his attempts to play it off, I could feel the nervous tension in the air. Okay, how do I do this? Okay, where am I? Where am I? Hold on. I think if I'm around here... I think the dialogue should cover it just fine. Listen, I don't know what to do. I think the dialogue should cover it just fine, and it's not that much. It should be okay. That's why I didn't know what to do, okay? As I lit the cigarette, he summoned his resolve and looked at me. Listen. Anyways, he sounded serious. I exhaled the smoke and just for him to continue. In this situation, shut up. It's the best I can do. This is going to be hard. Maya. The mere sound of her name brought me back to call her reality. Every other second, because they changed the camera just like now. I don't want to keep it to steer me in the middle. It was around here, right? I think. I will just be there. I didn't feel sick this time, but my brain refused to function. Nevertheless, I forced myself to speak. Okay. Once I managed to get the worst out, I fixed it with an inquiring look. We are just going to do this for the rest of this scene, which I kind of check. I checked the CG for this one in specific, and there are a lot of varieties of the expressions they can have, so it's going to be a bit long, so yeah. I could see hesitation in his eyes, but then, with a laugh, he conceded and looked away. To roll over and give in. The conversation petered out, and silence fell. I stared at the floor as I smoked, but then I remembered something and looked at him intently. The real you. Recently, I have noticed that he had finally dropped the UPT lawyer act. But apparently it was unintentional, because he looked at me in surprise. This sentence is so silly. He kept a hand over his mouth and averted his gaze. I just snickered. He cleared his throat pointedly, then turned a very serious look on his face. Your honest opinion? No, that I wasn't expecting. No, yeah, same. I forgot. I burst out laughing. Surely he could have gone up with a better subject change than that, right? Then again, knowing him, he was probably that serious about asking me. He scowled at me. What do you mean experiment? God grief. Unable to suppress my laughter, I stared at the floor and chuckled. Then, as he fell silent, I sensed his uncertainty and reined myself in. I have it muted the whole time! Why you didn't tell me? I had it muted the whole time, no! No! Alex! Why you didn't tell me? Dude!
まだ感想を聞いていない。
Oh no! That was so long with it being muted! Oh no! Fuck. I blame this on you. He answered grumpily. Apparently this was his way of hiding his embarrassment.
感想ね。怖かった。
I wasn't thinking about it, I guess fair enough. It was scary. Fear glimmered in his eyes.
それは。
気持ちよすぎて。
He struggled to find his words. I saw him a distant look.
痛みとは違う。今まで感じたことのない気持ちよさで狂うかと思った。
Yeah.
そうか。
He averted his eyes again. Perhaps he wasn't expecting me to go into that much detail. His cheeks look a bit pink.
セックスの時に傷跡に触れられたり痛めつけられたりするのは最高に興奮する。けどあんたに入れられてから正直全部どこかに飛んでた。そのくらい よかったよ。
That is a conversation they are having. At this, he has it a bit clear his throat.
それならまあ成功したということか。それにしても本当にひどい状態だな。
Not realizing it's muted. Yeah.
何が？
その体だ。
ひどいのは元からだけど。
No, don't say.
古傷じゃない。新しい傷のことを言ってる。
I mean you are injured.
ああ。
Cigarette between my lips, I looked down at my own body. The bruises from the gun rape were now dark purple, and the cuts and scrapes were scabbed down but swollen.
この部屋に救急箱はあるか？
ある。
I jerked my chin in the direction of the kid in the corner. He rose from the bed and retrieved it.
新しい傷の手当てをしておいた方がいい。
Are they done?
できるのか？
I smirked at him expectantly. Of course, I didn't really doubt him. I was there when he treated Takman Ray.
簡単になるな。
Are they done? Can I move back to where I should be on the screen? He nodded without getting offended. I reached up, grabbed the cigarette butt from my lips and crushed it in the ashtray on the edge of the bed. Then he sat down next to me, set the first aid kit on his other side and held something out for me. It was the bunny toy he had stolen from me, the one that belonged to Yuzuki Mei.
これを。
What does that mean?
あんたの妹のだ。
あ、だがこれはお前が持っていた方がいい。いや、持っていてほしい。
For a brief moment, I hesitated. I think I can return back to where I should be. I think. Then I reached out and warmly accepted the toy. With a relieved sigh, Fuyeda took my arm and began the first aid process. He disinfected the wounds, applied gauze, and tapped it to my skin. Wait, no, I think they are going to show how he looks with all the bandages. His every movement was confident. I watched him in silence as he worked.
念のため、後から村瀬先生に見てもらった方がいい。応急処置しかできないからな。
ああ。
Finally, he fitted the first eye patch over my right eye. He fitted. Then he packed everything back into the first aid kit. Rubbing my my newly bandaged arm, I looked down at the toy he had returned to me.
柚木芽衣ってのは妹の名前なんだよな。
あ、
名字が違うのは両親が離婚したのか。
Can this end already?
いや、藤枝亮は偽名だ。
偽名？本名が。
Please don't jump scare me with the scene of them back at the bed, but with Toga full of bandages. Please don't jump scare with that.
柚木湊だ。
The moment I said I was going, yeah, but this keep going. I wasn't sure. Yuzuki Minato. So now we know the true name of both of them. Yuzuki Minato. I had thought of him as Fuyeda for so long, it didn't feel right.
表向きには仕事用の名前だと言っているが、本当は両親と同じ姓を名乗りたくなかった。 俺は両親を憎んでいる。
He turned away, rubbing his arm with his other hand.
俺の体の傷は両親の虐待によるものだ。お前たちがいなければもっと楽だった。お前たちを産んだのは間違いだった。両親からは常にそんな言葉をぶつけられた。
I should have replayed this.
結局父親は外に女を作って出て行った。
Left for another woman.
母親はますますおかしくなって適当な理由をつけては俺たちをなぶった。特に妹への当たりが強く、俺は妹をかばった。
Replay this scene so I have a better idea of when I can put myself back and all of that. Wait, no. Not that.
そうすると母親が逆上して虐待がどんどんエスカレートしていった。
Again, because I don't know when they are going to zoom out and show the whole picture again. That's the issue here. It's ending, yeah, but you know.
家を出ようかとも思ったが、妹を連れてどう生きていけばいいのか俺には分からなかった。だから必死で耐え抜いて中学を卒業してすぐにバイトを始めた。高校には行かなかった。
Okay. Is it enough time to read it, more or less? I try to hide it as soon as he starts the sentence, but...
とにかく金を貯めて妹と家を出ようと思った。バイトを掛け持ちして寝る間も惜しんで働いた。だがある日バイトから帰ってくると妹がいなかった。母親に聞こうと思ったらやけに高級そうな服や化粧品を床に並べて笑ってたんだ。
I just... whatever.
嫌な予感がして母親を問いただした。そうしたら妹を里子に出したとそう言ったんだ。ウェブに妹の写真をアップして引き取り手を募集したそうだ。引き換えに金を手にしたと。
I was a bit late, but can work. Fuyeta was only reliving it all in his mind and his book. His handsome features were twisted in pain, revealing his slightly gritted teeth.
俺はすぐに家を飛び出して妹を探した。ずっと貯めてきたバイト代を使ってとにかく探し回った。だが妹は見つからずバイト代も底を尽きた。飲まず食わずだったから途中で意識を失ってある女性に助けられた。その人はホストクラブのオーナーで俺は彼女の店で働くことになった。
He donned a self-deprecating grin.
さまざまな客を相手にしながら全ては金だと思い知らされた。だからのし上がってやろうと思った。そうすればすぐに妹を見つけることもできるだろうと。
No?
それ
Okay.
ホストから弁護士に転職したのか。
Don't worry about the snake flashing on the screen. He nodded, his expression dark.
正しくは検察官だ。ホストで金払いのいい客をつなぎながら大学の卒業資格を取り司法試験を受けて検察官になった。
You're still a censor. Honestly, fuck it. Whatever.
その方が情報を漁りやすいからな。だが検察官は個人で自由に動くことができない。 だから1年で検察官を辞めて弁護士になった。実績を積むために他の弁護士が嫌がるような仕事を進んで引き受けた。暴力団の顧問弁護士とかな。それから妹が売られた時期を中心に未成年の失踪や誘拐があった地域を徹底的に洗った。新興味はピックアップした地域のうちの一つで特に可能性が高いと睨んでいた。高里組が幅を利かせているのは知っていたからつてをたどって紹介してもらった。これが俺が新興味へ来た経緯だ。
After the long explanation, he let out a slow breath.
さっきも言ったが、俺は自分の体の傷を憎んでいた。両親につけられたひどく醜いものだと。だが初めてお前の体の傷跡を見たとき、心臓をわしづかみにされたような衝撃が走った。あの時は深く考えなかったが、今思えばあれは見せられたんだ。お前の傷跡が心底魅力的だと思った。だからこそ遠ざけようとした。俺たちはあまりにも近すぎて反発し合ったのかもしれないな。
Game, please don't pull out the dialogue one. Don't pull away the dialogue thingy. I could see a hint of sadness in his faint smile. That said, I understood where he was coming from. When I saw his body, it made me curious to learn more. But he, on the other hand, wanted to get away. Oh, so he could remain Fuidario.
俺はお前の傷跡を見た時からお前のことが気になってた。外見通りではない何かがあるんだろうって。
俺のことも
Game!
ユーフォリアとして欲望を知ろうと思ったことはあるのか？
I laugh and look away.
あんたは外面と中身が違うんだろうとは思ったから。でもユーフォリアとして話す前にあんたのことが分かったからな。だからこうなってる。
そうだな。
He nods, smiling. I stared into space.
俺はずっとなんとなくユーフォリアとして絵を描いているつもりだった。意味なんてなくてただそうしたいからしてるだけだって。でも本当は違った。すべてマヤの思惑通りだった。子供の頃人が本音を吐き出すように誘導する話術を母親に叩き込まれたんだ。
誘導する話術？
ああ、信じられないだろ。生活の知恵でも教える時みたいに繰り返し何度も。そうすればみんなが言うことを聞いてくれるようになるってことあるごとに語って聞かされた。過去を忘れてからも俺は無意識にその話術を使ってた。それだけじゃない。見えるんだ、人の煙が。
煙？
オーラみたいなものって言った方が分かりやすいか。感情や考えによって色や動きが変化する。それを見ながら相手の心情を予測して話すと思った通りになる。
それはいつから見えるようになったんだ？
わからない。物心ついた時にはもう見えてた。本当に見えてるのかそれとも幻を見ているのかはわからない。頭がおかしいって思うだろう。
Now that I have gave up giving up of censoring is when they are flashing it. He didn't deny it. No surprise there, in my opinion.
別に信じなくてもいい。俺はマヤから教わったことも含めて、そういう異常なやり方でマヤと同じように人が心の奥に秘めている欲望を暴いて楽しんでた。
Isn't that this man? Yeah.
知らないうちに俺はあの女と同じことをしてたんだ。
As I spoke, a lump of emotion welled up in my throat, and I pursed my lips. Fuyed averted his gaze pensively, then carefully began to speak.
おそらくお前は人が欲望に溺れる姿を見て、自分と同じような人間がいると安心したかったんだろうな。
安心
At this, I looked at him in confusion. Confusion. I can't say
実の
it.
母親に道具として扱われて、人の汚い欲望にまみれて、すがりたいはずの親にそんなことをされたら、子供は心を殺すしかない。
He smiled softly.
自分は道具としての価値しかないと思う一方で、そういう人間は自分だけではないのだと。他にも自分と同じようにもがき苦しむ人間がいるのだと知りたかったんじゃないのか。あくまでも俺の解釈だから違うのかもしれないが、お前が傷を好むというより執着しているのも同じ理由であるように思う。
同じ理由。
さっきも言ったが、俺にとっては他人につけられた傷など意味嫌うものでしかなかった。それをお前は自分のものとして受け入れると言った。裏を返せば他人につけられた傷すらも受け入れることで、自分の体が自分のものであると必死に主張しているように、俺にはそう感じられた。
Why? His eyes were filled with affection and sadness as he gazed at me.
自分を痛めつけることで、ただの道具でしかない自分を叩き潰して否定しながら、本当は自分を失うことを恐れているんじゃないか。
I can't remember exactly what scene was, but like that happened earlier on this route, I believe. That when he was starting to remember, the first thing he made was cutting himself. I couldn't argue with that. For that matter, I couldn't be sure whether he was right or wrong. That thing, yeah. When he started to remember a bit, like, he can't take it, so he just does that. But I didn't feel compelled to deny it.
俺という存在が全部あの女が作ったものだ。肉体も考え方も。俺はそれに影響されてただけで、俺はあの女の所有物でただのものだった。
お前は今母親の呪縛から逃れて一歩を踏み出そうとしている。今まではそうやって疑問に思い絶望することもなかったんだろう。だからこれ以上自分を否定する必要はない。ありきたりな言葉だが、お前の人生はお前のものなんだ。
ああ。
I nodded and quietly closed my eye. Oddly enough, what he said just now put me at ease.
お前も自分ではどうしようもない境遇に生まれついた。 それは理解しているし、共感できる部分もある。だからなのか、お前を見ているとなぜか自分を見ているような気分になる。俺には守るべき存在が、妹がいたから生きる理由を見失わなかった。だがもし妹がいなかったら全てを投げ出していたかもしれない。生きようと思えなかったかもしれない。だから今はお前のことを憎いとは思わない。それより
He fluttered, his expression hesitant.
何と言ったらいいかわからないな。
傷の舐め合い。
I more mute, opening my eye. He looked at me dubiously.
違うか。
From the moment I first laid eyes on Fuyeda, I was sure that we would be incompatible. But as it turned out, we had more in common than I ever could have imagined. He didn't have to say a word. One look at the scars on his body and it was plain to see. So the magnetic force pulling us together was, in a sense, a desire to commiserate. He remained silent for a long moment, then slowly began to speak.
否定はできない。確かにその意味合いを含んでいるだろう。だがそれだけで終わるつもりはない。傷を舐め合い認め合って、さらにその先へ行く。傷を舐め合う相手がいるなら認め合うこともできるし、いずれ支え合いにも変えられるはずだ。単なる言い換えだと言われればそうなんだが、舐め合いよりも支え合いと呼んだ方が前へ進めそうな気がしないか。
I was stunned. Not only that, but the soft smile in his lips felt so natural.
俺とあんたが支え合い？
不本意か。
いや、
Quietly, I shook my head.
少し前までどっちかというと殴り合いの関係だったのにな。
何も知らなかったんだ。仕方がない。
殴り合い、舐め合い、認め合い、支え合いか。
言いたいことがあるなら言え。
He frowned at me. Apparently, he thought I was being skeptical.
それはあんたが俺と支え合う関係を望んでるってことでいいのか？
It's cute. It is very cute. At this, his eyes widened ever so slightly. Then, eventually, something akin to bashfulness crept up on his face.
もちろんお前の意思は尊重する。お前が嫌でなければだが。
This man was such an enigma. He was conscientious to a fault and sometimes inelegant in his methods, an insufferable know-it-all who so often stumbled at the most crucial moments. At his core, was he just a hopeless idiot? With this thought, I gave him my answer, in the form of a light kiss. They are so cute! He looked at me in surprise, then his eyes softened.
乗ってやるよ。
They are so cute!
ずいぶん上からだな。
あんたほどじゃない。
He chuckled and looked at me. I gazed back at him with a conspiratorial grin. It's so cute. After I finished having a smoke Fulleda and I sat down on the sofa and discussing my past. I saw it hint the contents of the package I was sent along with the bunny toy. He held the photo of the dark painting in one hand and the tone record entry in the other, scrutinizing them intently.
そもそもこの荷物は一体誰が送ってきたのか。
Just then I hear a cell phone buzz. Fulleda rose to his feet and retrieved his phone. It must have been an email or text message. Instantly his expression hardened.
高里組が襲撃を受けたらしい。
襲撃
You are still undressed? Dude!
ああ、遠野と榊が行方不明とのことだ。
He put his phone back in his bag and pulled on his jacket. Just like that, he was back in lawyer mode.
状況確認をするために部屋へ戻る。また連絡する。
Carrying his bag, he walked to the door, then paused and looked over his shoulder.
ちゃんと服を着ろよ。
With that serious comment, he straightened up and strode briskly from the door. From the door. Ah! Funny to think that despite the same armor of his just a few short hours ago. I despite that same armor of his just a few hours ago. With that thought, I gazed at the closet door and let out a small sigh. Okay. After Fulleda left, I got dressed at his request, then dozed off on the sofa. For once, I slept like a log without any disturbing dreams. And I didn't need the sleeping pills either.
おい、とわ、おい。
I felt someone shaking me and opened my eye. Taco peered at me with a concerned look on his face.
なんだこれは。
Oh, I guess all the canvases and everything are still on the floor. Yeah. I pushed myself up and looked around the room. It reeked of paint thinner, and the canvases were still strewn around everywhere, so it was really no surprise that he was alarmed.
死のうとした
Sleepily, I rubbed my eye with one hand.
なんだって。
He looked back at me with a deep frown.
けどやめた
ずいぶん軽いな。
いつものことだろ
The way he's just, yeah, that happened. Oh my god.
さすがにここまでしたことはなかっただろう。
そうかもな
To me, it didn't matter anymore. As a beat back at Jan, I belatedly realizing he was staring at me in shock.
なんだよ
いや、何かあったのか。
何が
雰囲気が違うぞ。
雰囲気
普段はもっと思想の一歩手前みたいな顔してるだろ。
ひどいな
今日は少し顔色がよく見えるな。何かうまいものでも食べたか。
At last, I finally understood what he was getting at. I grinned.
まあいろいろ
At this, Taco did a double take, blinking in confusion.
それよりお前、その怪我もこの部屋の状況と関係があるのか。どうしたんだ一体。
ちょっと
ちょっとどころじゃないだろう。簡単な手当てはしてあるようだが、一応見せてみろ。
それより休館続きって何かあったのか
I vaguely remember Ray mentioning something among those lines the last time he came by. Annoyed by the agent of Sazit, Taku regularly answered.
高里組が襲撃を受けたって話聞いてないか。昨晩から怪我人がこっちにも搬送されてきてるんだよ。手伝ってもらおうと思ったんだが、お前まで怪我人とはな。おとなしく休んでろ。
With that, he rushed out of the room. The attack continued. Several people were killed and many more wounded in the latest attack on the Takasato office. Takasato office. Survivors said the culprit was a large man dressed in black who infiltrated the building. Yeah, that was Madarame. I'm thinking if I should maybe stop around here. So the next time we can have both the good and the bad ending on the same video, or like the same stream, the same way that it happened with Madarame. We have been going for 3 hours, and I assume what it's left, it should be more or less around the same. I don't know, maybe just a bit more. I was waiting for the cat scene, but yeah, you know, when the name of the game appears and it changes colors and all of that. I was waiting for that, but it's not showing up, so just chatting after. I guess we can do that, yeah, but again, I'm not sure how much is left. I'm pretty sure it should be enough for around 3 hours or so. And so far it's quiet. Maybe I can go for a tiny bit more. Just a tiny bit. When the title screen appears, hopefully it won't take too much. I just want to have the last big thing of the story happen in one stream. That's what I mean. At that time, Taku brought Ray up to my apartment with him. The instant Ray walked in, his eyes widened in horror.
やだ、何これ、すっごい匂い。何があったのよ。
Can tell for a second now. Yeah. I guess I will leave it here because also I have the window and the door closed for 3 hours now. And I need to get water and I need to rest because it's so hot in this tiny room. I can't anymore. Okay, I guess that will be it for today. We are getting closer and closer to the ending. I really hope we can finish it all on the next stream. I really hope. And then we can have... If we end soon, we can chat for a while. And if we end late, let's pray. It's quiet at home, so we can chat after. Okay. This set was a lot. It was a lot. Again, when the whole thing happened with Towa being surrounded by the canvases and talking with Fuyeda, after that was over, I had to take a breath when I first played because it was too much. Seeing how much everything affected Towa and how desperately he was wanted to feel like trash, and that it was so much. And now you know that every time he goes on his way to be treated poorly, it's a subconscious response because he knows he has done something bad. That's why on Madarame's ending, every time he kills someone, he asks Madarame to, do that shit to him. Because he still feels guilty. And he knows he has done wrong. And it hurts so much. He seems so vulnerable and small now. He's just a precious being that has gone through so much. Thanks for putting that together. Yeah, when I realized that, and I was replaying that scene on a stream, it hurt so much. Like, he knows he's doing wrong, and he wants to be punished and feel like shit for that. And every time it gets worse and worse. It's like an immediate response right now. in the moment we saw on Madarame's ending, and it hurts so much. Poor baby. Anyways, I will end it there and take a shower because I'm melting. Thanks for coming. See you around on the purple platform. Bye bye.